You know, this putting together a Sunday morning service, keeping a church going, this is a team sport. I'm kind of like the quarterback, so I get a lot of people are looking at me, but there is a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes and a lot of people that are involved, and our Joyful Noise and our leadership council and our ministry of prayer and all the volunteers. It's just tremendous, and we're growing a church, and I'm very excited and very moved. So do I have a clicker here? Yes. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So school is back in session. How many is saying, woohoo? I saw not everyone was saying that. I think some of them are going like, really? Oh, no. I'm looking at Alori like, really? Really? Oh, poor thing. So how many people went on a vacation? Did anyone go on vacation? No one went on vacation this summer? You didn't plan anything? How many of you have ever been on vacation? You know how much planning does it take to put a vacation together? We do a lot of planning for our vacations, don't we? Even if you didn't do one this summer, I know that you have done one in the past. Vacation. So what goes into planning a vacation? First of all, you're going to talk about where you're going. What's your destination? Where are we going? Ooh, what do we want to experience on this vacation? Now we go for different reasons on vacation. We're going to talk about all that stuff. So where is the big question? What are we going to do when we get there? What are you going to do when you go on this vacation? There's lots of reasons we go on vacation. When are you going to go? You have to think about your resources. How much time do I have available? How much money do I have to spend? Lots of resource kinds of things, gathering information. Then there's the question of, how are we getting there? Are we taking a plane? Are we taking a train? Are we driving? Are we going to take the bus? What are we going to do? And then there's the big question of, so why are we going on vacation? And people go on vacation for lots of different reasons. I heard relax. That's a great big one. So when you're wanting to relax, you might want to go to the beach. You might want to go someplace where you can reconnect with nature. You're going to the woods or the mountains or someplace that just feeds your soul and makes you feel good. Or you might be choosing to go on vacation and visit with family and with people you love and just kind of renew your heart. You might want to go on vacation, go someplace where you've never been before and have a great adventure. Try some new food, see some new sights, go some places you've never seen. I mean, it's all a great big wide open canvas. You can create anything you want. And many of us have done that, and many of us do it frequently. We're thinking about vacations. Now, let me ask you another question. How many of you have spent at least as much time as you spent planning your vacations on planning the direction of your life? Right? Really, think about the hours you put into planning a vacation, but how much time do you really sit and think about the direction of your life and what you're going to do for the next year or the next 5 years or 10 years or when you retire or after retirement? How much time do we spend thinking about that? Now, I have a theory about why most people don't. So I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands, but know that probably at least 3/4 of you haven't put any thought into that whatsoever. Or you think about it but haven't taken the time to write it down. And maybe you're in a place of transition in your life when you're going from high school to college, or you're in those middle-aged years when you're like 35 to 55 and starting to think about, okay, what's this all about? What am I doing here? What the hell am I doing here? And what is this all about? And where do I go next? And you've got all this angst and all these questions and things. And I think most people don't plan their lives or think about it in those terms because they probably don't realize they have as much control as they do. Now, you guys know a little different. You know that you're not victims of life. At least I think you know that. That's probably why you're here, because we tend to attract those kinds of folks that are self-starters and self-motivators. And, you know, I think everybody here has probably heard the secret, and where you focus your attention and what you believe is what you bring into your existence. So now we want to streamline that some Today's talk is living on purpose. And I mean living on purpose, not living by default, not just living with whatever shows up in your life, but being intentional about what you create and the kind of experience that you have as you live. Now, a person who is living on purpose knows they're making a difference. Because in our heart of hearts, each and every one of us, I believe, as human beings, we all want to feel like our existence makes a difference to somebody, right? That somebody cares, that we're leaving this world a little bit better than how we found it. For our friends, for our family, maybe it's for animals, maybe it's the planet itself. But we all want to feel like we make a difference. When you're living on purpose, you're living from a place of choice. Meaning the words, I have to do this, start to ease out of your vocabulary. Instead of saying, I have to do this, you say, gosh, I get to. I get to get up in the morning and go to work. I get to come in here and talk about things that excite me and move me and have conversations with people that I enjoy being with. I get to do that. Now imagine when all of your life becomes an issue of I get to instead of I have to. So I'm going to invite you to change your vocabulary, change the words that you say, and instead of saying I have to do this, that, or the other, start to look at it in terms of, you know what, I get to. Because life is always a choice. You always have choices. There is nothing anyone here has to do ever, except die. And as they say, pay taxes. Well, you can choose not to do that, but then you have to pay the consequences. But life is always a choice. And when you live on purpose, you live from a place of choice. When you live on purpose, there's more meaning and joy in your life, right? You feel like you're part of something bigger. It's not just you in your little world, your little cocoon. You realize that you're part of something bigger because you're the one that's bringing the meaning to it. And we're going to talk about how we do that. The last piece of living on purpose and living your purpose is using the gifts and talents that you came into this world with. Now, I don't know about you all, but I can say that I know that everyone comes into this existence with gifts and talents, and they are unique to each and every individual. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're a little teeny tiny, if you're 90 years old or beyond or anything in between. Everyone has gifts and everyone has talents. You may not recognize them as such, but that's part of the work that we do as we come together in spiritual community. So the first thing about living on purpose is to identify your unique gifts and talents. Now, my dad is a great builder. He looks at a structure and he says, well, I want to redo this and I want to redo that. And he does the wiring and he does the plumbing. He does all this stuff. And he says, that's easy. Piece of cake. Piece of cake? He kind of diminishes it by saying, oh, anybody can do that. Well, not true. Not anybody can do that. But sometimes when it's our own gift, we don't see it for what it is because it's so intrinsic to you. You think, well, sure, everybody can do this. Not so. We all come to this world with different gifts. Maybe your unique gift, well, let me back up. The clue to what your gift is the thing that brings you the most joy. The thing that you lose yourself in, the thing that you feel like, gosh, I could do this and not get paid for it. I just love this so much that I just want to do it. And maybe you don't get paid for it. But your gift doesn't have to be your vocation. I think it's a lot more fun when you can get paid to do the things that you love to do. But not all of us get to do that. But that's a clue to what your gifts are, is the thing that brings you joy, the thing that you love, the thing that you would do for no money. Whether it's loving on babies or playing in the garden or figuring things out or singing or writing or speaking or whatever that is. Start to think. If you don't already know what your gifts and talents are, think about it. And if you're still stuck, ask the people around you. Ask people what they think your gifts are. Start listening to what they're telling you. I didn't know what my gift was for years. I think when I came here was when I finally figured it out because I had so many different interests. I like to write, I like to paint, I didn't really like public speaking. In fact, that was the way low thing on my list. But I figured out I'm okay at it. I'm pretty good at it. And then I got to really like it. And then someone at this church who doesn't come here anymore, he looked at me one day and he said, well, of course your gift is you're a communicator. And I thought, wow, I guess that is what I am. That's what I do, whether I'm writing, whether I'm speaking, if I'm putting pictures together and telling stories. I'm a communicator, and that's what I do. I can take complicated things and put them together and make it understandable and make it relatable. And I think that's a gift that I have. And I'm ready now to own that. Because I have to own my gift in order for you to be able to see and own your gifts. What good does it do you if I'm trying to be, all meek and mild and, like, oh, I'm not really that good, or I don't really like it that much, My living into my gift gives you permission to live yours and live large and enjoy it and love it. So I want everybody to find their unique gifts. Another little aside I will say about this thing of communication that I have. I realized as I was prepping for this that most of what I tell you is things that you really already know. You may have forgotten it. You may not be thinking about it in the moment, but when I say it, you'll know it because it's affirmation for you. Because it will somehow expand your heart. It's going to touch something inside of you that says, yes, 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 that is true. And sometimes it expands so much, you get the holy water comes from your eyes and you're like, wow, that was so right on. That was just what I needed to hear in that moment. So most of the time I'll be telling you things you already know, just reminding it to you, or maybe telling you in a way that you hadn't thought about it before. Every once in a while I'll say something that'll totally blow your mind. I love when that happens. But I love even more when you take something that I've told you or that you've gotten from here, whether it's from me or anybody else, and you take it out into your world. And the people around you are living better because of what you've done, because of the difference that you've made. And that excites me. And that gets into my conversation for next week, so you'll have to come back for that. So the first thing in living an intentional life and living on purpose is identifying your gifts and talents. What's the next piece? Obviously, once you've identified these gifts, you want to use them. You want to use them. Use what talents you possess. The woods would be very silent if no birds sang except for those that sang best. I love that. And I think that's an awesome quote. There's also another quote in there. I put quotes. I write them and then Shanna puts them in the program for you. But look, because you can use these quotes for during the week, your weekly affirmation. The person born with the talent they are meant to use will find their greatest happiness in using it. So you've got to use your talents. I think of it, if you've got a talent, you've got a gift that you've been given, and you don't use it, it's like a disrespect to yourself. It's a disrespect to God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. It's like a slap in the face. Oh, I don't like that gift. I don't want it. Take it back. It doesn't feel good when you give someone a gift and they don't use it. So you've got gifts. Unpackage them. Use them. Enjoy them. Because the more you enjoy them, the more everybody else gets to enjoy it. And that's what we're all here for. Use your gifts. Use the talents that you came here with. The next part about living intentionally is focus. So you found your gifts, you're using them, now you have to focus all of your attention on those gifts and what it is that you want to see come about in your world. What happens for most of us? We get we fall into traps. Things happen. We get distracted in life. Anybody ever get distracted? You start to making a living. That's probably the biggest distraction there is. We all have to do it. We all get to do it. Excuse me. We all get to make a living. It's very easy to get distracted in that and looking at the dollar signs and thinking that that is a measure of your success. When you're in that mode of, I have to go to work, I have to make a living, I have to make this much money, it will take you out of the joy, I think, of really living and enjoying what your gifts are. So we can get distracted by living on autopilot and living life the way everybody tells us we have to live it. We can also get distracted by getting involved in other people's stuff. Anybody know folks do that? You find yourself getting involved in other people's dramas and traumas and fixing this and fixing that. It all takes the focus off of you. So you don't have to look at your own stuff. You're looking at somebody else's, or they're looking at yours, and you know then they're not focusing on theirs. These are things that distract us from our purpose and what we're here to do and using our gifts. So don't get distracted. Take that time. I've talked about it the past couple of weeks. Pay attention to what's going on in your life and what's showing up for you. Voices of judgment. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? The voice of judgment? Anybody else have voices in their head, or is it just me? The voice that tells you, oh, you're not good enough for that. Or what you want to do, oh, that can't make a difference for anybody. Why would you want to do that? The voice that tells me, they've already heard everything. What are you going to say that's any different? I have that voice. We all have those voices of judgment. And maybe they're not just a voice in your head. Maybe they are actually are voices outside. Maybe they're those people who love you and think they know better about your life than you do. And they're going to tell you how you should do this, that, and the other. Or you're watching all the commercials and you're seeing all the ads and thinking, my life should look like this. And it doesn't. And therefore, I'm not good enough. We all have that voice that plays in our head. Everybody has it. For some of us, it's really loud. I think as we get older, as we mature spiritually, maybe the voice gets a little quieter. Maybe we don't hear it as much. But when you hear it, acknowledge it, thank it, and let it go. You don't have to listen to it. There's lots of voices in there. Choose the one that is saying better things to you. Choose the one that's a little friendlier. Choose the higher self, and that's a process that we do here at the center, and teaching you how to identify your higher self and that voice that is speaking truth to you. And eventually that voice will drown out the voices of judgment. What is the other thing? The other pitfall? I know there is one. Comparison. Anybody ever get caught up in comparisons? Nobody? Yes? Oh, okay. All right. Your friend that did it better, right? Your sibling that does it better, or the person on TV that looks better. There's all these ways that we compare ourselves to other people that have us not appreciate our own gifts and our own talents and our own uniqueness, because we get caught up comparing it with others. So this is your whole list of things not to do. Not to do. You want to focus and you want to pay attention like the magnifying glass. It takes the light and it hones it and it brings it down into one, like a laser. That's where you want to be. Lasered in on what it is that you're good at and what it is that you want to see more of in your life. The next big thing, just like the vacation, is the why. That means getting in touch with what it is that really moves you. And this is not an overnight process. For anybody who has not done this before, those of you who have done this know that it takes a while. It can take years, really, to come up with your life purpose. So you all who are young, my high schoolers and young adults, you all to get a jump on this now? The future is really, really bright. Just really bright and wonderful. But don't feel like you have to know what that is right now. Start looking at the clues of your life. Again, those gifts and what is it that you want to feel? When we make these goal lists, people get their planners at the beginning of the year and they say, well, by the end of December, I want to be 50 pounds. I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to visit this place. I want to do this. And you have your whole list of to-dos. Or let me give you one from a class that I remember from years ago. You can have a goal to say, I want to have a red convertible. And that could be your goal. And you're putting all your efforts and your time, and you got your vision board, and you go, yes, the red convertible. And you may very, very well, in fact, you probably will get that red convertible. But what happens when you get the red convertible? wow, your insurance rates skyrocket. You find out that other people like red convertibles too. And sometimes they don't want to pay for it. They may just want to take yours. So it becomes kind of a target. Or else the police officers see that red convertible speeding down the highway and they just might want to pull you over more than they did when you were driving your little gray Civic Honda. So there's a lot of stuff that came with getting that red convertible that you may not have thought of. Now, if you had thought about the why behind the red convertible, you could say this or something better. What might a red convertible represent for somebody? Status, freedom, right? I want to feel like my hair blowing in the wind in my car. I want to feel free. You know, I want to feel like excited when I get in my car. So that's the why. It's not the red convertible. It's the feeling that you get from being in that vehicle. Okay? And that's, Estridge knows, right? It's the feeling you get from whatever it is. You may think, wow, I like that guy and I want that person because you think they're this, that, and the other. And then you get that person and think, oh, this is not what I was thinking. This relationship, this is not all that. Right? They say love is blind for a reason. But if you thought instead and you got your little list out and you said, this is what I want to experience on my next romantic relationship, right? And come from that space, from your why, okay? And then the person, they may not look like what you thought, but that's part of the fun of life. That's when you get in the flow and just let life bring you what it brings you and look for the signs and you'll know when it's the right thing. But pay attention to your why. Your why is more important is the most important thing, actually. And then you get the surprise of how it shows up. The two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. Do you love that? Mark Twain. These are not new concepts. I'm not telling you anything that hasn't been said anywhere else. Find your why. Think about your why. What makes your heart sing? What gets you excited? So now the next piece of it. See that? Probably not the best graphic. Write it down. Write it down. Think about this stuff. It's not enough to keep it in your head. Really and truly, it takes it to another level of reality when you write this stuff down. So here are the steps to doing that. List 2 of your unique qualities. If you want to have a process, this came from a book called, it's by Jack Canfield. It's the Success Principles, and we'll probably get it in the bookstore, Lita. You guys, about this thick. This is just one little piece of it about finding your purpose. List 2 of your unique qualities. So my unique qualities is probably creativity and the ability that I have to speak and to communicate with people. Then list 1 or 2 ways you enjoy expressing these qualities. Think about how you like to express. So for me, my qualities, creativity and communication, and I really enjoy speaking in front of groups of people. I've come to enjoy that. I didn't always enjoy that. That was one of those latent talents and gifts that I had that I put on the back burner because of all the ugly voices in my head that said I shouldn't or I couldn't. The next piece. Assume that the world is perfect right now. How does that world look for you? When your existence is perfect, how does it look? For me, a perfect world looks like a place where everybody is living their joy and their bliss, right? Where everyone has found their talents, their unique gifts, and they're actually using them. That's exciting to me. That's a beautiful world. When people get to understand why they're here. So that can all go into your purpose statement. My purpose statement is to use my gifts of creativity and communication to empower people to live lives of joy and love. That's a purpose statement that I have. And I've worked on that for a long time. It changes every now and again, but that's part of the fun. As you grow and as you learn, you start to let go of the things that really are not you. And you come more authentically the essence of who you are, who you came here to be. And we're going to talk about this some more next week. So this is not the end. Don't feel like you have to have the answers all now, but I strongly encourage you to take those 3 questions and think about them throughout the week. Next week, we're going to take this to another level of how we do this as community. Oakbrook has not had its own vision, mission, purpose statement outside of what Centers for Spiritual Living has said is our vision and mission. So I'm really excited that we're going to have the opportunity as a community to come up with what it is that we are really truly about. What do we value? What do we want to see as a community? And what is our why? Why do we want to see it? And have all of you be a part of having that come together. And how do you want your spiritual community to support you and help you create the life that you love and the life that you came here to live? So I'm excited about that. That's what's coming in the next couple of weeks. So come back. All right, so y'all got this? Write it all down. If you need me to, I'll send it out, or we'll put it on the newsletter or put it on Facebook. And now for our affirmation. Well, our affirmation, there we go. Now join me in this, if you would say it together. I recognize my unique gifts and talents. Using them brings me into alignment with my life's purpose and creates joy for me and others. I am blessed. Say that last one again. What? I am blessed. Thank you. Wonderful. All right. Now, if you just take this moment and turn within. I am so grateful for this gathering of like minds and like hearts and people who've come together in this church atmosphere, this spiritual home that we call Oakbrook Center for Spiritual Living. I am grateful for knowing that each one in this moment is identifying and coming to know their own unique talents and gifts and what they were born to give to the world. And I just affirm that as this week continues, that there is even greater clarity around those gifts and those talents. And that as the members of this congregation, those they love, express more of their unique gifts and talents, that they feel the joy that comes from living a life on purpose and with intention. And that they feel the love and that they feel the gratitude that comes from living on purpose. So I release these words with my own gratitude and with great expectation for knowing that it is already in the works. And so it is. So it is.